Today, we are going to be going over hiring or being hired as a decorator. What is allowed, is it worth it, and what should you charge or pay if you're not willing to listen to me and just want to do it anyway. So to start, we're going to talk about what is allowed. So trading real-life currency for decoration work. That is extremely against Warframe's terms of service. While broadly speaking, you can interpret that as a favor, DE has already clarified that they draw a line on this one. Any monetary gain as a result of an action done in Warframe is against the rules. The only exceptions to this are content creators that have a perk for supporting them that involves making a dojo room for said fan, which DE already classifies as community building, and it's within the rules. Trading for platinum is kind of a gray area. It falls into an unenforceable trade, and DE discourages this at every twist and turn, because if something goes wrong and you're tricked, screwed over, or just generally fucked, DE can't be responsible for the trade, and they're not going to help you. Now we'll go over the risks. So the first one is getting banned, getting the good old 2035. Worst case scenario, you would get banned. Just because it's not strictly against terms of service doesn't mean that they're going to be okay with it in any given scenario. So every time that you do run a transaction like that, you do risk the chance of getting banned. And then the two alternative risks are just getting fucked, either as the employer or as the decorator. As the employer, let's say that you find someone you want to decorate for you, and they demand some, if not all of the payment up front. Now that isn't necessarily an unreasonable request, because they have to trust you not to kick them from the clan before they're done, or before they get paid. So let's say you do it because you're a decent person, you don't want to have a fight, and you want to hope that they're being a good person as well. But let's say you pay them and then they run off immediately. You can't send it to DE support because they're not going to care. They've already warned people about this kind of stuff, and if you do send in a ticket, I can promise you, the only thing you'll get back in reply is an urge to caution to not do that in the future. As the decorator, let's say someone reaches out and wants to hire you, and then you're kind of flattered and grateful that someone would want to hire you at all. So to show appreciation, you put your best foot forward. And because of that, you maybe don't put up a fight when they say they'll pay you after you're done, or maybe they, give you half now and half later, or whatever kind of arrangement, and then you get to work. And most good rooms take around 20-ish hours of work by good decorators, at least in my experience. I could be wrong. And then you finally finish and you go to your employer and ask for your reward, and then they kick you from the clan at that moment, and there's nothing you can do. Again, if you go to DE support, it won't matter who you complain to or cry to. It's your own fault for getting fooled. There's literally nothing you can do about it. If you are adamant about hiring or being hired, I will give you at least a couple guidelines to follow. In terms of who you can trust, the employer has a little bit more options than the decorator does. For the employer, I highly advise that you seek out a decorator with some kind of reputation, or at least can be vouched for to some degree, although that's still not really trustworthy. You're never going to be 100% guaranteed to be safe when seeking someone out for this, at all. I advise you to seek out someone who has won a featured dojo contest at the very least, because usually they won't, they're too prideful to let their reputation be damaged by screwing someone over. But you have better options than they do, and they have to trust you a lot more than you have to trust them, because anyone can give them plat, but not everyone can give you a room worth making. As for the decorator, there's literally no gauge for who you can trust and how on this. There's no good indicator. It's not like people are going to have a good reputation from hiring numerous people. It's just not going to happen. It really just boils down to who you feel you can trust. If you don't feel like you can, you shouldn't do it at all. It's that simple. Now we're going to talk about pricing. If you are going to do this, please make sure that you at least know how much your time is worth. I've seen a lot of arguments for this because people will decorate rooms for free. Rarely. They'll decorate an inspiration hall or an open space room for as little as 500 plat. And then I've seen people that do commission work for 8,000 platinum. And I've seen people call the 8K commission people greedy, and then I've seen people call the people doing it for free a fool, and that kind of stuff. And it really boils down to how much you value your time and what price you want to put on it that people are still willing to pay. However, I'd just like to give some basic math to show you what I believe is a good indicator for pricing on a dojo project. Alright, so for the sake of this example, let's say, like I said before, a good dojo room takes around 20 hours. It can be sooner, so we'll say 10 up to 30 max. Okay, and then with that, let's go off the price of the maximum plat bundle that you can buy. We'll say without discounts for now. get to that. And that's $200 US. So 4,300 plat divided by $200, not counting taxes, is 21.5 plat per dollar. Since we're using US dollars for the price, I will also use it for the minimum wage here, and we'll say 21.5 plat per dollar, and then times it by $7.25 an hour, which is minimum wage in the US, and that equals 161.25 plat per hour to be earned. And as we said earlier, it's 10 to 30 hours, so if we apply that, that means you're going to be paying 1,612.5 platinum up to 4,837.5 for a single dojo project. Now, most people that do dojo commissions pay under that or charge under that because they just aren't thinking, and maybe they're really just happy to have someone want their stuff at all. But legitimate pricing should be based off of this. I'm not saying that this is exactly the price we should go off of, because hardly anyone ever buys the maximum plat bundle at $200. That's insane. If we're being more realistic, people have at least a 75% discount before they even consider that one. And so for shits and giggles, let's go off of that math, yeah? 4,300 plat divided by $50 is 86 plat per dollar. Times that by $7.25 an hour, that's 623.5 platinum per hour. Times that by 10 to 30 hours, and then your new range is 6,235 plat up to 18,705. So if you think the old price was ridiculous, look at that instead, because that honestly is more realistic. A long time ago, someone asked me how much it would cost to recreate the Riven room in their dojo, and I told them 20,000 plat because of this, and they thought I was absurd. I don't think I am. If you're gonna be dumb enough to go and decorate for someone for plat, you need to make sure that it is at least worth your while. Please, either A, don't do it at all, B, find someone you trust, and C, if you're still going to go through with it, make sure you get paid. Anyways, this only came up because I was writing the rules for the Warframe Dojo subreddit, and I had to type out a big page explaining everything I just talked about. I highly discourage anyone from actually doing commission work whatsoever, but if you are going to do it, I just want to make sure that you guys actually understand the risks and what you should go for when you do it. Otherwise, I will never ever facilitate this in either the subreddit or in my Discord.